My name's Elizabeth Garcia. My son's name is Cameron. He was born on October 19th, 2011 at approximately 1 pound, 7.5 ounces. I was only 6 months pregnant, so Cameron was born at 24 weeks and 3 days. I remember that day like it was yesterday. I woke up at about midnight with really bad cramps. And every 30 minutes, every 45 minutes, the pain would come like clockwork. I knew this is not good and I need to get to the emergency room. The doctor comes in and he says, "I'm sorry to tell you that you are 5 centimeters dilated already." So all those hours at my house that I was going through that pain, I was going into labor. And I had no idea. I immediately started praying. They started telling me that they think that Cameron has an infection and if he stays in my body, something could happen to me and that they had to get him out. I was in like an operating room and there were lights everywhere and strangers everywhere. They would not allow any of my family in. I asked God if something were to happen to Cam to take me instead, you know? And I looked over to this nurse, I was just numb and she was crying. And that's when I knew it was really bad. They took him away and it was the weirdest feeling because in that moment I thought it was over. Like I thought that that was it. And about 4 hours later, I found out that he had never passed. They had him on full life support. They had these looked like black lights all over him and IVs everywhere and tubes down his nose and down his throat and heart monitors all over his chest, and he was hooked up to a ventilator keeping his heart going and the oxygen flowing into him. Hooked up to another machine, hooked up to monitors, and all I could do was just touch the incubator. And a while later, the doctor came into my room to tell me that my son wasn't going to make it past the first 24 hours. His lungs were too premature. They were caving in. They didn't think that his kidneys would work. They were doing further examinations, but that my son was just not going to make it. They told me that we should really consider taking Cameron off of life support because Cameron was failing. And in the event that he did survive, Cameron would always need oxygen and always need feeding tubes, and Cameron would be deaf and blind and need a wheelchair. And basically, the condition that Cameron was in that incubator, his body would grow, but Cameron would stay the same. And I just couldn't see myself living with myself had I pulled the plug, always wondering what if. So I did not sign the paperwork, and we did keep Cameron alive. Cameron was in the hospital for about 128 days, and I probably spent about 118 days there. Cam can see, he can hear, he crawls, he talks, he says mom and dad. He's healthy, he's huge, he eats, he has no breathing tubes, no respiratory problems. So for me, Cameron has beat all odds and is perfect. When I have a neurosurgeon, the best of the best, telling me like, I have no idea looking at this x-ray how your son is in this good of condition, the only explanation to me is God and that my kid's a miracle.